How interesting. I'm back, I hope. For some reason, I don't see people. I'm using my laptop, by the way, so this is interesting. So hopefully I can see the comments, hopefully this time. I may have to use my phone to help me. So let me turn. I will. So you might see him in the shot. He's already looking in the direction. So yes. Hi, Diane. Okay, now I see people. Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. So we'll go ahead and begin. And like I said, don't mind the cat. He lives here, so I just feed him. All right. So my name is Monica, and hi, Johnny. Hi. Okay. Yeah. So it is gonna be important that I have people here. I can't just. Oh no. This is not good. Try this. I'm going to. I'm going to end the live, even though I don't see myself. So if I'm still on, everybody, please let me know with a thumbs up in the chat. But because right now I don't see video, and it's saying, "Sorry, we're having trouble playing this video." Um, okay, interesting. What I will do is, oh, probably, yeah. Okay, I do see. Okay, comments patchy Wi-Fi due to weather. Okay, that's a possibility because it is about to storm over in this direction, and I try to make sure all of my devices were queued up. Hmm. So, okay. I mean, like I said, I don't see myself, but that's okay. Maybe I'll just peek in with the other device here just to make sure I'm here. And that's one of those interesting things where, you have to learn how to pivot, think on your feet, and just know that, it'll be okay in the end. It will be okay. All right. So I am. Okay. Okay. I'll do that. There's a bit of a delay. So my other camera, my phone will be my backup here. All right. So what I kind of wanted to talk about first was, I guess, my origin story, and as to, well, what qualifies me as somebody to do this kind of work. Well, I can give you my origin story, a really quick and dirty one. I was 11 years old. I always loved singing and performing, and I wanted to be a performer when I was 11. So one of the first things I did was audition for this talent show that was kind of similar to uh, the this is long, long before American Idol, the one with the stars in it. But anyway, talent show. So I had a song, I practiced, I got myself ready, and I wanted to be able to do, an amazing job with this song. And I thought to myself, like, I'm ready. I'm going to do it. I'm going to, blow them out of the water with this amazing song that I worked on. And what happened was I, got to the audition. It was kind of like an open audition where everybody can see you. So it wasn't a closed audition. And so I didn't know, I didn't know. So when you don't know, you don't know. And I, started singing. Again, I thought I was ready, thought I was going to do it and just be like, yay, I'm awesome. And I started to hear my voice shaking. And I'd never experienced that before singing. Like I'd, been a singer in church and things like that, but my voice began shaking and quaking. And when I heard that, my reaction was more freak out. I was like, oh no, what's happening? So, and it made it worse. Even though I was ready, I knew the song. I was like, I want to do this. I want to be here. And I pretty much bombed that audition because my voice was quavering so badly. So I then knew I wanted to become better at being better. There's obviously more to it than just, as people say, have the talent. You got to have some skills too, along with it, and you've got to have some tools. So if we, and the people that I do see so far, if you are a performer or a creative person, I want you at this moment with paper, pencil, Post-it, I want you to think of one or maybe two goals that you want to accomplish as whatever creative type you are. Now, before we go further with the goal, and I helped somebody with this earlier today, a goal is something that you can measure with actions. Like you can physically see this to know that you have accomplished the goal or not. So I'm going to give us, let's see, about a minute and a half. Okay. And I'm going to set my timer also. Wow, this is a big delay. This is interesting. But you know what? Taught whole school year with Zoom with all kinds of mishaps. So this will be fine. I will set my timer for about a minute and 30 seconds. I want you to think of one or two. We don't want to go, too much into it. And then I will tell you and explain why I want you to be able to do that. So think of, and I'm going to also have one of my journals out, and I'm going to do also some writing within that time. Okay, so let me set my timer. The music, but my other phone is now being used. So what I'll do is we'll just have to enjoy the silence of our own thoughts, and that's fine. So again, think of a goal, one or two, that is physically measurable, that you can accomplish, or that you would like to accomplish. Now, I want you to think of something not this, but if you say something like, I want to sing better, I'm going to push you a little to say, I need you to be more specific. What do you mean by sing better? Do you want to be able to hold your notes longer? Do you want to be able to have a wider range? Do you want, so do you get what I'm saying in that? So I want you to really think about that goal that you want to accomplish. It does not have to be like always a complete finished goal. It could be a working goal. It could be a goal that you take in sections. So again, let me go ahead and set the timer. Hopefully you're out there thinking of what your possible goal is. And I'm setting the timer now for that minute in about 20 seconds. Let's do that. And don't hold back. That's one other thing before I set this timer. Don't hold back on that goal. Like, if that's really what you want, we can talk about more, fine tuning it or whatever, but don't censor yourself. And that's also what we will try to cover tonight. All right, setting the timer. Okay, that is 1 minute 20 seconds, and I'm going to go ahead and stop this. Again, it does not have to be in stone. This goal right now, like I said, it's always sometimes a movable goal of what it is that you want to be able to do. With, say, it could be a project, it could be, making a recording, it could be building a installation, like an artistic installation for, your living room or something like that. So, but the reason why I think it's important to put pen to paper and not necessarily do like a computer, I know there are apps out there for that, but there really is something to be said about putting pencil to paper and having it there as a record for yourself. Because first of all, you can put it where you like. You can put it in a journal. Hold on. Speaking of journals, I've got lots of them, quite honestly. So as a writer, as a creative person, I got a lot of journals. And I don't make any apologies for it. These are just 3 in this hand, 2 in this hand. Hold on. 1 more in this hand. So they're for different things. Like this one is an education one for me. Like when I learn new things, I put it in this one. This one is actually my home improvement journal. And then the latest 2, 3 that I have, actually I didn't even show this one. This one is just more interpersonal work. And it says, hello, new day, because, you would like to think that you're new every day and you get a chance to start over. And then this one I bought, I know it's kind of girly, but, it's whatever. It says, make your dreams happen. So this one is the let's get to work journal. So there's nothing wrong with having journals. And then this green one is about just learning how to do finances. So there you go. And you don't have to write in your journal every day. Not all of them at the same time. That that can get weird. It might be a good idea to journal in some form or fashion daily and make it a practice. This one is the one that I try to make it a daily. And right before I started this stream, I'm going into my scrapbook binder. This is super old. Like I started it when I was 14, I think. And I had an electric typewriter, so this is actually typed. And yeah, this is actually typed. But I typed my ultimate goal as an artist. my ultimate goal. I can read some of it. I don't want to get too like gushy, but it says, I want to become a professional recording artist. I mainly want to sing, songwrite, and play the piano and guitar. But I also want to mix the sounds and do it any way I wish to do it. I want to make the ultimate sounds that could ever be made or heard. Of course, I'm 14, so of course I'm going to speak like this, but you know, whatever. Um, and then, and at once I can do two things I want to achieve. So there's the ulterior motive as to why my purpose. My purpose is, let me get back to that spot. I want to sing so the world can hear and love it with all their heart. Again, I'm a teenager. Come on. And then the second is, I want to help people who need my help, like the homeless and hungry. I really want to make the world happy through music and through funds, money, that is. To make sure I would not forget, I made myself promise I'd do it. I never break a promise I make to myself, or it would be worth nothing. Okay, so I actually typed this out and put it in my scrapbook, and here we are. Okay, and here we are. So yeah, so that's why I think it's important, first of all, to have a practice to write down on paper in some form or fashion what your goals are. You'd be surprised, they start to come together faster than you realize. But when you kind of keep it in your head, or you keep it secret, now this is where, yeah, we can get a little interesting in the process. You want to be true to yourself, of course. I never showed anybody that. You know, I typed it out on my electric typewriter at the time, and I put it in my little binder, and now the binder is grown, by the way, so that was like the first page. Other things that are in this binder are photographs of when I am performing, articles from newspapers that showed that I was, you know, doing things. So it helped me keep track, and it helped me stay accountable with that. So that's important to me. And I think it's important for every person who's creative, if they really, truly have a voice they want to share with the world, you need to start writing it down. You don't have to share it with other people. In fact, I probably would ask you not to do that. Don't do it. Don't share it with people, what you write, because then you are more authentic to what it is that you want to be able to do. So there's that. So it is definitely, and let me see my planner. I'll show you as they say, how the sausage is made. Okay, so my planning today was kind of loose and fast and furious. So yeah, so the writing portion, I want to stay with writing for a little bit. You can journal daily as a practice, just to, you know, get feelings out and together. It's also good material for writing if you are a songwriter, if you're a prose writer, if you're writing poetry, if you're a playwright, anything. Seriously, a lot of that does come back. And the next thing that I do want to talk about a little bit. Oh wait, let me see. How is everybody feeling with this so far? Because I still see, I think maybe three eyeballs. All right, I'll keep going. All right, so again, in the vein of writing, I have not read this book, but I probably need to read this book. But I ran into this idea of what people call morning papers. The book is called The Artist's Way, and I think it came out in the 90s. Yeah, I never got around to reading that book in particular, but okay, great. So that book in particular, I guess it was a hot book back in the 90s. It eluded me, but I have run into the idea of what is called morning papers. And let me explain what morning papers are and why I want to kind of make it different from what I just explained here. Morning papers are called morning papers because you do them first thing in the morning. And it is a form of journaling, but it is free form. This form of journaling, you just write. You write and write and write and write and write and write and write. And you just keep writing. If you think you have nothing to say on the paper, that's what you write on the paper. I have nothing to say today. You write what you're feeling, what your body's feeling, what, yeah, my finger hurts, or, oh, my head hurts, I got up so late, or, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm having, friends over for dinner, that kind of thing. Just start writing. And you write, this is what they say, you can write for 3 pages or 3 minutes, whatever comes first, 3 pages or 3 minutes. And you just leave it be. You don't judge in that 3 minutes or 3 pages, you just write. And again, that's a form of opening up yourself to your creative process. That's also a good way to just kind of start digging deeper into what you might be feeling and have more of a self-awareness for what it is you want to do in that day, whether it's art or whether it's going to your job, at the button factory or whatever it is you're doing out there. So, morning pages, like I said, it helps with just releasing what you're holding on to, because a lot of us, we hold on to things, especially those of us who create and those of us who are artistic. I guess we get the stereotype of being sensitive, and that's our power, but we also have to learn to mold our power, so that is our power. And I would like to think that is a way for us to strengthen our power. Now, I was kind of doing morning papers, but I wasn't calling it morning papers. So the times that I was feeling the most emotional and like pent up and having like a lot of this stuff was actually right before shows. So I had developed a routine, and there's yet another teeny tiny notebook over there on the other side of the room that, I would carry a notebook or a piece of paper or something like that. Most likely it would be like a tiny notebook or something. And when I got to the place where I was performing, I'm usually there on time and there's nothing much going on, nothing happening or anything like that. The business is probably not open if it's like a restaurant or a club or a bar or something like that. So we're just waiting. So of course that's going to build up some anxiety in us. And that's when I would write. And these papers are not something that you have to share with anybody. You don't have to keep them. It's nice to look back over them, again, for source material for yourself. But sometimes it's just the vessel to help get out what is inside of you. Just like music, just like dance, just like writing prose, writing poetry, in a way that is non-judgmental. Okay, so that's really what we want to honor in ourselves, no judgment in ourselves. We're not going to get there trying to hold back and trying to say, well, I'm not good enough, or this doesn't look right. I also teach elementary school, by the way, so a lot of this stuff that I'm saying right now, I'm actually telling kids. It's like they tell themselves this at such an early age, and it breaks my heart when that happens, that they've come to such a young age already censoring themselves. So you just write, and nobody's to judge. It is you are you, so there's that. So again, there is a really big delay, but it still looks like I'm still on, so I'm gonna keep going. All right. What I also, wanted to cover with that, so that's one of your tools, y'all, journal. Let me put that on my whiteboard. As you can see, I have a whiteboard. Journaling is a tool. I don't, like, me personally, seriously, there might be in there, I'm sure there are apps out there that you can do it digitally. You can just put it on the computer. Um, oh, this is Julio. Julio, oh my goodness, friend. I've had teachers tell me all kinds of things, but you know what? They can't live my life. I live my life. You know? So you have to let go of those things. And we're getting to that in just a second. My list. You got to let go because you are the one that has to live your life, not your third grade teacher. What their comment was 5 to 10 seconds of a criticism that they probably don't even remember, but you held on to it and you gave it real estate in your brain and in your heart for your life now. And we don't want that. Okay? We don't want that. So I'm sorry that happened to you, and it's happened to a lot of people, and it continues to happen to a lot of people. It really does. And that's another thing as far as like me being a music teacher. One of the first things I tell new students is like, yeah, there are teachers out there that are sticklers that'll be like, no, it's not right, whatever. No, I'm more, you set your goal and I'll help you get there. I'm your coach. Okay? I'm your coach. Okay? Yeah, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. All right, so I'm gonna put on the list, journal. I'll say as much as possible because you know some of us might get intimidated by it, by the fact that it's a regular thing, but then it becomes a regular thing. And I don't want people to get intimidated by doing like something that could actually just help you. Okay, journal as much as possible. Let it be. Just let whatever comes out come out. Put it on the paper. And then what you could do, if you're afraid that people are gonna, take what read what you're gonna write, find a way to dispose of it, burn it, melt it in water. If you're, afraid of that, just put it down. Put it down and let it go. Set it free. Okay? Set it free. Because, yeah, I've had teachers tell me, oh my goodness, I could, we can go into story time in my college career. But guess what? I graduated with a degree in music. Anyway, so there we go. Yeah, so journal as much as possible. That is a tool that you can make use of. And the more you do it, the more you kind of want to do it once you start, working that out. So, okay, so let's get to this list. Because when other people will judge us. And you have to just know that that's going to happen. It's going to happen. So, one of the things I made note here in my plans here is like, you are always in charge. You have a choice. You can consider what people are saying to you as helpful criticism or harmful criticism. In what spirit are they coming to you as? Because again, I'm sure that teacher probably, I don't know, had a background where they had dreams that were also dashed and they over-criticized themselves, overjudged themselves, and they're just passing it along, but you don't have to pick it up. That's one thing I've definitely learned over the years. People will say whatever they want, but you don't have to accept it if you know yourself. And that's, again, back to the journaling. Know yourself so that, when they come to criticize you, you can just let it just roll off your back. As I was saying here, it says you'll begin to challenge the negative beliefs about yourself. Even if you're writing, I'm stupid. Again, I've seen this with kids. It's like, no. It's like, once you, write it down and ask yourself, are you though? You can write and you can read what you just wrote. That doesn't mean you're stupid. You really start thinking deeper about why are you saying these things? And do you want them to change? about your art, your craft. I don't believe in a such thing as a good or bad craft or talent. Again, I'm going to go to this list in that, yes, there are people who are gatekeepers. I don't believe in gatekeepers because that, to me, breeds this competitiveness and this judgmentalness when art is a way to communicate and make a connection with other people. That's what art is. It's a way to communicate and make connections with other people. So the moment we have gatekeepers who tell us, oh, that's not right, or oh, you're doing it wrong, in a way that you know yourself, you got to evaluate the source. Why are they saying that to you? Because that's how they were taught, and they probably did not get the opportunity to express themselves fully and truly. Now, there is a difference between learning a discipline. Now, I'm not going to go too hippy dippy or whatever with that. Yes, you do learn the foundations of certain things of what you're learning. Say if you're learning to be a dancer, yes, you've got to hold your body a certain way, and yes, you've got to take care of your body a certain way. You just can't be, completely off the rails. But you got to, in the end, know yourself, or at least start to learn yourself, because you are the expert of yourself. So there's always those gatekeepers, and they're always going to be there, and you always have to think about, well, I wonder why they are saying what they are saying, because they've been held up to a certain standard that they want other people to be held towards, and I don't think that's very fair for what art is. Art is a form of communication, so you can't tell somebody how to communicate when you don't know what's inside of them. All right, so those gatekeepers and those purists, then I like to call these other people the doubters. No offense to anybody named Betty or Bob out there. So those bitter Bobs and those bitter Bettys. So again, that kind of links into what I just said about the gatekeepers. So there is always going to be somebody who's going to challenge what you do that is different. Or even if you do want to be like the greatest guitarist in the world, there's always going to be somebody who's like, that's not that great. Or you missed a note. Or, there's always those bitter Bobs and those bitter Bettys. I kind of, again, hear what they're saying, but then I ask myself, why are they saying that? Is it to help me? And if so, could they said it differently? Or are they jealous? I mean, let's just break it down. Are they envious? Are they afraid of themselves and their own goals? We are a society of people that, we want to connect. And again, back to that connecting through art. We want to connect, and we don't like to be judged, but just know that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And you can take the criticism or the judgment as you will. Always consider the spirit in which the criticism is given. Okay? Always consider that. Again, there are, those who have been built in a system that it's hard. And then, yes, there's the discipline. Yeah, you got to be disciplined. And that's for another episode we'll talk about, in the future. But we want to break down all these barriers first. You can't get anywhere without getting rid of all of this judgment in yourself. Because, like I said, I'm curious about what anybody else says. They said a lot of things about rock and roll, rap music. They said a lot of things, but here we are. We still have it. So, yeah. So those bitter Bobs, bitter Betties out there, you tell them, okay, and keep moving. And then when it comes to the discipline of what it is you're doing, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna mess up, and it's okay. And that's one thing I did learn in college. Um, you're gonna make mistakes, and this is where the technical part of all of this is coming into play. And back to maybe another secondary tool, visualization. I didn't write it down, but maybe I need to, at least for this. Visualize your outcome. Okay, there is actual science behind this now that I do pay listen and watch a lot of videos on self improvement. There is now proven science on visualizing certain goals that it does actually help you. So people ask me, how do things run? Like, how do you get things to run so smoothly? Because when I first started performing in public as Nerd Queen, I visualized everything, every single step of the way. The setup, hopefully I'd already seen the layout, the stage, or whatever it is that where I'm going. I would walk it, and those would be the opportunities, as far as like journaling too. Walking the stage, walking the space, knowing where everything's going to be, so that you can be prepared and visualize your outcome. Okay, so visualizing your outcome, it really does make a difference. Okay, if you want to write it down, that's fine. Yeah, yeah, right, Diane. It's you are. I guess as they say now, the popular terminology is biohacking. You're biohacking yourself mentally to do what it is you need to do, and it's very much like how athletes do what they do, how actors tend to do their craft, and musicians and other creative types are no different. And again, this is what I teach. You got to start really visualizing the process of what it is you're actually doing. Okay. Yeah. And back to the athletes thing. Like, those are the most perfect examples I can give to people when it's like, how does whoever the greatest athlete or whatever, how do they get to be so successful? First of all, they got a team that supports them, and that's sad that in the creative world we don't always have that support that we need, because we do provide a service to the world or to society. Athletes, they have their coaches, and they have their crew help pump them up and stuff. And yeah, they visualize, they have their affirmations, they do their training. They do their thing. Oh, biohacking. It's like biology. Think about hacking as in a computer. Like, how do you get to the codes? Like, say if you were into video gaming, you got to have the cheat code. You could do it the long way, or you could do it the cheat code way. Not saying we're cheating, but yes, this work can take a lifetime, or we can double down and really use those tools that people didn't think that we needed as a creative person to use. So yeah, so that's how I see this aspect of biohacking. Visualizing. And then, yeah, we can talk more about the actual biohacking, because I do that too, by the way. But yeah, so athletes, they got it. So if you have a favorite athlete and you know what their routine is, like they have like a diet routine, they've got a rest routine, they've got a spiritual focus routine, they've got all of those, and I don't think that we should be any different in that, and I hate that we do get that, again, stereotype of being all flighty and unorganized and running around kind of thing. It's like, I don't think that's fair. Like we have much to give to society, and I feel like there should be more of us uh, having better tools in our toolbox to do it with, rather than to um, bring upon negative self-talk. Like we don't need that. That leads to bad habits. And we can get in. I don't want to get too much into those bad habits, but what I do teach and train kids to go to auditions. There is a couple of magnet schools around town in Atlanta. They'll come to me, and I'll help them prepare for an audition. And one thing, obviously, I'm not going to tell them to do is swig some whiskey. That's not healthy. And think again, if you want to think about those creative types who did their creative work and they leaned up on bad habits, it was first probably a way to manage their stress and anxiety, and then it turned into a crutch. So countless talented people who ended up doing that and still are doing that. But again, we have other tools. Okay, so I got one more thing to cover, and then I'm actually going to ask for some questions. This delay is quite interesting. It's at least 2 minutes wide. That's a big delay. It's a big delay. Anyway, so as we work on visualizing your outcome for whatever creative endeavor that you're working on, you want to protect your energy with a helpful mental diet. And that'll be for another episode. So think about a regular food diet. Okay, so I'm going to put it on here, but my next episode I'm going to tell y'all it's going to be in 2 weeks. So not next Monday, but the Monday after next. So you'll have plenty of time to think about these things on your own, and to come up with some things. Okay. Yeah, that's true, because they've leaned upon. I see Julio's comment. Yeah, because sometimes people lean on those vices for their creativity, and they've biohacked that into their system in a bad way, like honestly. But you can biohack yourself the opposite way too. Okay, you're in charge. Remember what I just said. You're in charge. All right. So yes, cultivating your ideal mental diet. Your mental diet is important. And what I mean, and I'm misspelling diet. Where am I? I don't know. Hi, Kevin. Nice. I'm gonna wave. So you cultivate your mental diet. Think about like a regular food diet. So if you eat well, your body moves well and behaves well. So same thing mentally. And I know this sounds very ironic for where we are right now. We're on social media. I hate to say it, folks, but not all social media is healthy for your mental diet sometimes. Sometimes you might just need to snack upon it every once in a while and do other things in the meantime. Maybe you might want to get into a practice of reading books that inspire you, listening to podcasts that inspire you and not make you feel bad about yourself. Inspire. Inspire means to make it better, not to judge. Okay, so think about there's some gurus out there. You gotta be careful of which ones to follow. I'll say you want to be inspired, not to fall into something where again you feel judged, and then that happens all over again. So yeah, so cultivate that mental diet, and sometimes that might even include the people you surround yourself with. Again, back to the The people that you'll meet along the way, those bitter bobs and bitter betties, if they're around you a lot, and if you're trying to show them, like, look at what I made here, look at my sculpture, and they're like, what is it? It's ugly, or I don't know, that kind of thing. I'm so sorry. You might have to not show bitter Bob and bitter Betty your work anymore, okay? Because it may be a habit that they're just negative. You know, there are people who I genuinely believe and know that their outlook is quite negative and they don't even realize it. And once you start to realize that in some people, you don't have to tell them. That's not your, and again, that's not your job either, to judge them or to force them to do anything, But just know that you've got to protect your energy, your mental diet. And I'll call it mental diet and emotional diet. Now, if you are having, say if you're a writer and you're writing about hard topics, okay, that's different. That is different. That is a way of processing. But you should not be, when it comes to putting your craft together in an environment that makes you feel bad all the time. If you're producing this play about something horrible that happened in history or something that happened to you in your past, that's one thing. But then even then, you've got to have a strong mental diet and a break away from the work. And yeah, things like going outside, listening to music, things that, again, that help you feel more centered with yourself. Okay? So yeah, so sometimes there are some hard things that you are working on in your craft. And that's important too, because that, believe it or not, that does help other people when they are reading about somebody's struggle that's like, difficult, and you've put it in an artistic way. That does help people, okay? But you don't want to drown yourself in it at the same time, okay? There are those people who are method actors, and they have ways of helping themselves too, okay? Helping themselves out of those situations. They're method acting things. I've met a couple in my day, method actors. It's interesting. I've done a little bit of that myself. I put myself in situations to be able to write, but then I come back out of it too. Okay, so don't sit there and dwell in it. Okay, be in control. All right. Okay, so here it says 9:51. So I'm going to go ahead and give one more helpful tool. So yes, the mental diet, but then there's good old-fashioned breathing, and I'm gonna put this over here because without any of this, it's not gonna work. Breathe. Please breathe, and I will show you one kind of breath tonight that you can practice with. One kind of breath. Please breathe. So yeah, so I'm gonna jump back into my my background a little bit. So I went to a magnet school in high school. Again, I had my goal. Once I knew my goal, I was in junior high when I wrote this. I was like, 7th or 8th grade. There were magnet high schools for the performing arts, and I knew I wanted to go there. So I knew I had to prepare myself and get ready. And then once I got there, I knew how important it was for me to get as much training as possible and information as possible, knowing in the back of my mind that I had an ultimate goal for myself. So I learned how to sing opera, do musical theater, took dance, ballet, modern dance. Yeah. So I took those classes in high school and did those things in high school, again, documented in the binder over here. And then when it was time to go to college, again, I knew what I wanted, ran into a hiccup in the road in the way. Had to pivot, as life will sometimes make us have to do, pivot a little bit, but not, completely derail me. Um, yes, I can sing opera. uh, and that's what I mean. It's like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with learning a discipline. Nothing wrong with it at all. But don't let those in those situations make you feel inferior. Yes, learn your craft, learn your, you know, whatever, your formats and all that other stuff. But if you're a creative type, know what you want, in the end. Um, so yeah, so bump in the road. I actually majored in performance, operatic performance, my first year in college, but I did not know that they also had a music composition uh, degree available. So I switched majors, but it wasn't that big of a change because I still made voice my main instrument, and I learned piano and took a couple of guitar classes that were not a part of my program, just for me, for myself, because again, I had my ultimate plan in my background. Um, and yeah, I went through the ringer in college. I mean, we can go into more in that in other sessions and things like that. Like, yeah, it was hard. It was hard, I'm telling you. But it did not stop me because I knew what I wanted. You know, I knew me. And taking criticism or listening to criticism in this dissecting the criticism again, back to like, are they trying to be helpful, or are they just being mean, or do they have an agenda, or is there something wrong in their past that they just feel like they see something in me that they're just like, or maybe they don't, maybe they are coming or trying their best to be helpful, but they don't know how to be helpful. So there's lots of ins and outs to all of that, but in the end, you've got to know yourself. So again, okay, so before we go, breathe, breath work. Okay. If you are feeling nervous or anxious, of course, I hope all of you know what that feels like for you. It might feel different for a lot of people. Most times, like, your heart rate is up. Sometimes you're sweating. Sometimes you're like fidgety. Uh, Sometimes you're just feeling like you're going to vomit, basically. Breath work. One exercise I can show you really quick is called the box breathing, where we'll call it 4 count this time. A 4 count breathing in through your nose. You can 4 count hold it, and then you do a 4 count breathing out of your mouth, and then you hold it at the bottom. So as much as possible out. This slows your heart rate down. This controls and Andy can help me with this, being a nurse, the carbon dioxide that's coming out of your mouth, and it helps calm your body down. And it also helps, if you can achieve the calming, gets your brain into the alpha wave state. And that is where, yes, you're calm. And it's also where you're creative, where your mind is clear. So the alpha wave state. And we can talk more about that in a different session. So try this with me. I will talk us through it as much as possible. Let me explain it again. Box breathing, 4, 4, 4, 4. So you breathe in for 4. You hold it for 4. You breathe out for 4. And then you hold it down there as much as possible out for 4. And then I'll use my fingers as our counting. All right, here we go. And again. hopefully with a few of those rounds, you find yourself more calm and more focused. Okay? So that is what's called box breathing. You can also look it up online. There are lots of variations of it, but really it's one way you can use to calm your body so that you can have a calmer mind, so you can have better focus on what you're doing and what you want to achieve in your goal. In your goal. See, your goal. So yeah, so what I'll leave you with, it's almost 10 now. If you have any questions, if you would like for me to talk about certain aspects of being a performer, you can send me a message. Feel free. Okay. But I hope that you do this as some homework for some of you out there and really take it to heart. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another calm for creatives. Okay. All right, my friends, take care.